Welcome into Arsenal Report, and many of you are probably worried about the rumors of Martin Zubimendi potentially changing his mind and joining Real Madrid for the upcoming transfer window. And let me tell you for certain, that is not happening. The deal is 100% and completely signed between Arsenal and Real Sociedad. The medical is the final stage of this transfer, but Sociedad cannot renege on the deal. They will have to pay a fine for breaking a contract and will be brought to court. Zubimendi would also be liable for having signed and also would be brought to court. This is just a case of Real Madrid making mountains out of molehills over the fact that Zubimendi said he loves Xabi Alonso, he loves Real Madrid. Those things may be true, but this deal is set in stone. It is done. Some sort of absolute catastrophic thing would have to happen in order for Martin Zubimendi to not be an Arsenal player by July 1st. And there's also an update on that July 1st date. It does appear that the deal will likely be announced ahead of July 1st. And then Sociedad can just, cook the books in a way to have it affect their next fiscal year. Martin Zubimendi will be an Arsenal player very soon, the second player into the door after Kepa and before Sesko, who is likely the next to follow, although Sesko, as we've seen, does have an offer on the table from the Saudi Pro League. But my guess is a player of his age and his stature is looking to make that step to a real next league, not to a Saudi league, and ready to take his big grasp on world football at Arsenal, trying to chase down the Premier League and Champions League. But don't worry about Zubimendi. That deal is done. And there are a couple of wingers now who have been offered to Arsenal, or Arsenal are putting their name out there for because they don't want it to seem like they've only got one target, the same thing we've seen with Sesko. And Alejandro Garnacho is one of those players. This is an agent-led transfer link for Alejandro Garnacho. It is not an Arsenal-led transfer rumor. So there are two different types of transfer rumors that journalists talk about. One comes from agents trying to garner interest in their player by putting them in links with top clubs. That's what this is. And then there's the clubs leaking links about players so that maybe another deal, the price can come down, or many other reasons. But Garnacho, not a fit for Arsenal. 20 years old, did not have his best season by a long shot. Just 11 goals all in the season, 3 of those coming in the League Cup, 1 of those coming in the Community Shield. So 6 goals in 36 Premier League matches, 1 goal in 15 Europa League matches, played nearly 4,000 minutes. And most of those coming in the Premier League and Europa League. 3,000 minutes in the Premier League and Europa League for 7 goals and 6 assists. That's not the kind of return that Arsenal are going to be looking for if they're going to make a big money signing at left wing this year. And Garnacho also has been a locker room issue. And we've seen over and over again Arteta refusing to go out and sign players who he thinks may cause disruption in the squad. Think about Victor Osimhen and Ivan Toney last summer. Both of those players that Arsenal were extremely interested in until Arteta met with them and their camps and then decided they do not fit the mold of this Arsenal team. So Ale Garnacho, I do expect him to make a move this summer. Chelsea's an option. Arsenal, not an option. I think he will move abroad, though. The Premier League does not seem to be suited to Garnacho. This just isn't the right place for him. But Mohamed Kudus, this is a player Arsenal have had big interest in the last 5 years. 24 years old now, the Ghanaian has spent the last few years at West Ham, not coming off his most productive season. He had just 5 goals and 4 assists in nearly 3,000 minutes, 35 appearances. He's never really found his true spot, if you will. Is he a right winger? Is he a number 10? He's a bit of a hybrid of the both. For 80 million euros, which is the rumored cost, Arsenal seem to be interested in that half that price. Maybe at 40 would be a good deal. But it seems like Kudus may be better served going off to the Saudi League. If you think about the squad building that Arsenal have at the moment, Kudus doesn't really fit into that because he's kind of like Waneri in the way that he's kind of a hybrid right wing 10. He's kind of like Max Dowman in that way as well. So unless he's willing to be Saka's backup and then immediately replaced by 2 younger players, this wouldn't be a move that makes sense for Kudus or for Arsenal. To me, though, the idea that there's a link and a rumor of Arsenal having already approached West Ham for it, this is Andrea Berta doing what he does best. He's using the media to help bring down transfer prices for players that he's interested in. So if Real Madrid see that we're interested in Kudus, Garnacho, potentially Yildiz, who we're going to talk about, Jamie Bino Gittins, number of players, they can't hold Rodrigo hostage at a certain price that Arsenal are not willing to pay, in quotes. So it's smart moving here by our football director, Berta. His scouting team seems to be coming in now, bringing in the Italian mafia with him, for lack of a better term, to find those top targets. And Kudus, as much as I think he's a very talented player, a transitional monster, could offer a lot for Arsenal, the package doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's not one that I feel Arsenal will continue to push on unless that price tag comes way down. Should we not get Sane? Should we go get Rodrigo and bring in Sesko, and that Kudus deal comes down to 40 million euros? Then I could see Arsenal being interested in as a kind of rotation option, can play as a 10, can offer a transitional quality that we don't have, a little bit of magic. He's got a certain feature to his game that we don't have in the squad at this moment. And lastly, Kenan Yildiz, the young Turkish star for Juventus, who's 20 years old, coming off a big season for a 20-year-old, really getting his first full season as a starter. 9 goals and 7 assists for a very poor Juventus side. He's been very good for Turkey. Mostly plays off of that left wing, can play as a second striker. This seems to be the kind of profile we're after, right? Think about Rodrigo, left wing center striker. Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli, left wing center striker, second striker type of player. So it does make sense. The age profile is good. The price tag, not so good. I can't imagine spending 60 to 70 million euros on a player who's this unproven. Juventus are in financial trouble. They haven't been great. If Yildiz is looking for a way out, another player who, if he's close to that 40, 50 million range, the wages won't be insane, could be a potential third attacker. Or you get 2 players in that range alongside of Sesko, and you've kind of rounded out that attack. You sell Trossard for a smaller fee just to make room for these 2 players in the team. But Yildiz is a very talented player. I think he would fit in really well with the way Arsenal are trying to play and kind of changing the way that they're playing with a really super physical and athletic striker who's going to knock down a lot of balls, who's going to push that back line back and have a kind of left wing second striker type of player who can pop into those pockets underneath the striker with an overlapping left back. It does seem like we're kind of going back to a more traditional style where we're going to have a left back pushing high up the pitch. We're going to have kind of a target man with somebody underneath. We're going to have a true number 10. So Yildiz is a player that I could see making sense for Arsenal if the price is right. Right now, it seems like the price is too high on Kenan Yildiz, but we'll see how this progresses as Arsenal start to make moves for Sesko and potentially Rodrigo. Thanks for watching Arsenal Report. Make sure to hit that subscribe button right down there. We're doing videos every day on the Arsenal transfer links for this coming summer, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.